Hi, I'm Arastu, and if you're anything like me, you're a student research assistant at the Clinical and Translational Sciences Unit at the University Hospital. Today we're going to be going over blood draw basics. First things first, let's glove up. Welcome to one of the CTSU exam rooms. Everything you need for blood draws will be found right here in one of these drawers. So when we open these drawers, we see we have butterfly needles, transfer devices, constricting bands, alcohol wipes, and gauze sponges. We also have tape, which we'll use with the gauze sponge to create a makeshift bandage for after we're done drawing blood. Now, let's talk about different kinds of butterfly needles. So at the CTSU, you'll find three different kinds of butterfly needles: 21 gauge, 23 gauge, and 25 gauge. The gauges basically tell you how small the needles are. The larger the gauge, the smaller the needle. Typically, the default needle to be used is the 21 gauge, as if done properly, there will be no difference felt by the participant in the stick unless they specifically request for a smaller needle, in which case use the smaller needle. In most of the studies that you encounter here at the CTSU, the coordinators are great, so they have the tubes already arranged in the proper blood draw order. However, it is important yourself to remember what is the proper order for the tubes to be drawn. The proper order is as follows: yellow top, light blue top, red top, tiger top, green top, and purple top. The reason for this specific order is what is contained previous to the blood inside the tubes. Certain tubes have certain things inside of them, chemicals, that can affect the samples that they cross-contaminate with other tubes. So, this order ensures that cross-contamination does not affect the samples downstream in tubes that you use later. Hence why purple tubes that are EDTA tubes are used last, because you don't want EDTA to come into contact with any other tubes that you have that are not meant to be EDTA tubes. So now you're familiar with all items within the space to draw blood with. Now you're going to move on to the procedure of actually drawing the blood. So it is always good practice to start with all the materials you need laid out on your table with the participants seated and their arms in front of you. The first thing that I typically do is take my constricting band, and then I wrap it around their upper arm of the arm that I expect to have the most prominent veins. That can be an arm that I see more veins on, or an arm that they tell me that they typically get blood drawn from. I wrap the constricting band up and around behind the arm, up tight, and bring it down and wrap it. I then wait a second, look to see if I can find any prominent veins, and if I do, I'll pop my tourniquet off and start preparing the area. I'll take an alcohol prep pad, and then I'll wipe only with a downward motion 3 times on my desired area. This will not cause any bacteria to smear, and this will also make the vein that I'm looking to stick more prominent. I will then assemble my butterfly needle and my transfer device. I will unscrew this end, the rubber end of the butterfly needle, and insert it into the transfer device to get ready to use for blood draw. Then, now that my participant's arm is dry from the alcohol pad that I wiped on them, I reapply the constricting band, and while the veins become more prominent, I prepare my gauze and tape bandage, putting the gauze in the middle of the tape and then sticking it to the back of my glove to use after I'm done with the blood draw. Now that the constricting band has been sitting on the participant's arm for a little bit, I go ahead and take my tubes out. I take my butterfly needle. Now it is important to note that the butterfly needle will have 2 rough sides on the grip. It is important to grip your fingertips on the rough sides, as that will also tell you which side is bevel up. Bevel must always be up, otherwise your participant is in for a world of hurt. Now I stick the patient, and once I've stuck them, I'll pop the tubes on in the proper order which we previously discussed, draw my blood out. Once I am finished drawing the patient, all needles get disposed of in the sharps bin. Everything else is good to go in the trash. Thank you for watching. It's also important to understand that there's a lot of things that you'll learn drawing blood that you won't learn just from one video. So get in there, get some repetitions, draw blood from participants, and get some confidence and learn some new things.